everybody, just calm down.
Girl, just calm down.
Oh,
It is not overtime.
You're not the only single parent in the world, girl. Get over that, girl. It's just you. It's just you and your son. Relax. I
I'm
got 2
confused.
kids, so
Yeah, with a whole partner. I'm doing this by myself.
you broke it home, right?
Yeah, I'm doing this by myself with no help. Anywho, I ain't got time. I'm not about to argue with y'all. So, anywho, guys, welcome to the Everybody Just Calm Down the podcast. I am your boy Po Theory.
I'm Jared.
I'm the queen.
Oh my god! Like what the?
It's
I
every
guess
every
you.
born every day. So
Well, I guess you swapped out that bull hat for this hat you got going on.
shout out to all my boys.
Do you remember? Oh, I don't even know if we can say that.
You can't say.
I don't
You can't
know.
say. Can you say that?
Oh,
No, you definitely cannot say
Oh, you
that.
can't say.
Jesus.
Who? You can't say no more.
Can you
No.
say?
Oh, I don't say. That's
It's,
not. I
Just
don't say.
said
it's
it.
the same
I don't
thing.
say back. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
exa-
god. So we're
Okay,
gonna obviously all of that will be blipped out.
Okay.
But anywho, we are here to review the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 8, correct?
Solution.
I wrote down episode 7, but I was not sure. I was
It's
not
8.
confident in that. So yeah, 8.
Okay, perfect. So guys, we open up to the opening montage. All the women are just bouncing around, doing their thing. And then Britt talking to Mike on the phone about Angela and says Angela keeps repping for Drew and having her back. She feels that she needs to keep her distance from Angela. And I would probably believe that everyone is keeping their distance from you now. So shut up, Britt. We then cut to Shamia on the phone with Gerald, her husband Gerald. Apparently her daughter was having, I guess she had a sinus infection or something like that. And just seeing how Shamia broke down, speaking about her husband and how great of a partner he is to her as far as like teamwork and things of that nature. I thought that was a really beautiful thing to see.
Agree.
No, yeah, I agree. It was nice just to see, and then just to see the display, especially with it being a black parent, but the display of the father being hands-on, because there have been countless times on Housewives across the franchises where the cash strip is happening and the wife is calling dad, and dad's not even with the kids. So I appreciated this scene just for that.
That's a fair point. No, that's a fair point, Jared. And that just to touch on that, because we haven't seen that like in Housewives history. We've seen a lot of house husbands, but present fathers, there was only a selective few who were like really there. Yeah.
No, most definitely. And then she also says that she feels like she's obligated or like he deserves to have his boy. I really hope it's in the cards for them to have that another child, preferably a boy, because
Me
that's what
too.
they want. Quick question. So when Drew arrives, would y'all have come?
No.
You mean like in real life or as a cast?
Yeah, like in real life. In
No.
real life, would you have
No,
come?
no.
Listen, we are too old and too big to be showing up at an
Too
event
big.
that we weren't invited to. I'm sorry. I don't give a damn about no film and none of that. Anything funny acted, I don't have to go anywhere that I do not want to go or where I'm not welcomed. Because me walking into the Lions Den and I'm not choosing violence myself. I'm acting like I'm there because I want to be there. I'm going. If I'm going, I'm starting some.
Whoa, okay.
What I will say though, which led to my confusion later on in the episode, was that I felt like Porsha was surprisingly pleasant to Drew.
I agree with that. I would not do that. I don't even like going to places sometimes that I'm invited to. So
Hello.
going to a place I'm not invited to is crazy work. I did find it interesting, and I think this may just be production kind of, or Angela being a newbie this year, trying to figure out and find the words without saying, production asked me to do this. I said this last episode, her reasoning around it, Angela is talking to Drew in the makeup chair. And she says, I want you to speak to Porsha so I can get the heat off of me. And it's like, well, no, the heat should be on you because you facilitated this. Like, I just didn't understand it. And then Drew says she don't want to talk to Porsha. What?
Yeah.
Why'd you come?
Right.
Y'all fried me for this last week, and I said that she's not my favorite person. It's given messy Bigfoot. Now, how messy was this?
We
We
still
agreed that it was a
disagree.
little messy, and I agreed that I still love her. So
Exactly. What was it? You thought it was supposed to change or something?
she's
Oh,
doing
this
her
actually
job.
changed her opinion?
No,
Say that again.
I learned some more after this week.
Oh, same.
Oh.
Same. So the women are getting ready for the event. Everyone looked nice. I must say, Britt looked phenomenal this whole episode.
She did.
She
Yeah.
looked,
It
yeah.
did look good.
I'm gonna give her her
Well,
thanks.
until she got to her bathing suit.
Oh, I didn't even see what that was.
That gold number.
That was a
Everybody
little
was
rough.
botched, honey.
I'm dead. Stop it. We got to get there, guys. But when everyone comes downstairs before they head out to the whiskey and the coyote ugly of it all, everyone looks so nice, but Drew looked too much on theme. Like she looks like how white women look when they want to dress in a country western thing. Like that's
for a
what
bridal
Drew was
party.
giving. Right. Like it wasn't Cowboy Carter. It was like my lips are playing it in the past. Who I am is I was about to say, Danielle, you don't know this. Cause like I was singing the song and I was like, Danielle is not, she doesn't know the Reba song. But then
I
you
don't know the
smile like
Reba
a second
song.
later. Oh, well, Lord, what you smiling for then? Anywho, girl, whatever. So, we were all a little nervous because Porsha hadn't seen Drew yet. But like Jared said, right at the door when she said, "Oh, happy birthday," I had to look because I was writing in my notes. I heard "happy birthday" and I looked up and I was like, "Oh my God, what's about to happen?" And surprisingly, Porsha was like really kind to the girl, and her reasoning behind it, I thought was great reasoning. Like, okay, look, I'm not about to just keep beating you down. You here? I don't want to be no mean girl. I really appreciated that about Porsha when she said that.
Agreed.
Now when we get on the sprinter, Shamia's like having like a little bit of a breakdown. It is, I'm sure it's like not common knowledge, but I'm sure we can look up who her first marriage was because those are
His name is
public.
Solomon King. Yeah. There's not a lot of info on him, but he is a
Oh,
native of Atlanta, graduated
okay,
from a college in Alabama in Huntsville.
okay,
He actually has a little bit of coinage. He's the president of some type of financial something in a broker financial world.
okay,
So yes.
okay.
And with such a strong name like King Solomon, honey, you would think you'd be able to find more information, but shoot, there's not a lot of information on him. I couldn't even find out how old he was, but I did look him up.
Well, okay, girl. So one of the things I will say that I felt for her so deeply on this, where she, in so many words, I felt like she was saying that because he had so much money and he was probably more noteworthy at that time, or everyone knew him. So when she was being abused, no one was really there for her. Everybody looked at him because he held the purse strings and things of that nature. And her just breaking down years later, being in a happy marriage and all these things, just off of a text message from someone that she felt like was her friend that finally said, I'm sorry. Like, I should have seen this. It's just funny how that can just creep back up on you like that, where you think you're over it and you would think, I don't care if they get it now, but I guess it really just held on for her. Like that was something that she really needed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, sometimes you can, even when you think you're over something, something will trigger you. And just take you back to that place. What I did appreciate about this moment too with Shamia, Shamia gets on my nerves sometimes, but she really she really keeps showing herself to be a very selfless individual, because the way in the middle of her breakdown, she stops and then asks Cynthia about how her mom is doing. Like,
Right. No, it was a really touching moment, I think. And for the girls, because you could tell Kelly and Britt were really like shocked that she was having this moment in the car. Like no one knew what was going on. Like if you get Portia looking at her phone, like no one knew what was going on. So when Kelly and Britt realized it, like, oh my God, like, and that's when Portia got up or whatever and she had that. But I was like, you know what? Shamia, girl, don't even worry about Solomon King. Ain't got nothing on Gerald, so it don't even matter.
No, it's a
You
fact.
won. You won, baby. Don't even trip.
So then we move on to the team splitting up. For the Coyote Ugly, we have Porsha, Shamia, and Kelly. And for the other side, we have Drew, Britt, Cynthia,
Mm-hmm.
and someone else, right?
And Miss
Angela.
Oakley.
And Angela. Jesus Christ, and Angela. I'm gonna do it how we did it last week. We're gonna just do one scene at a time. And then we'll, whatever, because it's just too much to split. So with the Coyote Ugly girls, they were just having so much fun. Like, I had much rather been with those girls. Kelly asked, what was the issue with Porsha's friends regarding Drew? And then Porsha basically says, they all know Drew, and they found it weird that she wasn't there. But I was sitting there like, so nobody's going to bring up the fact that girl brought up that she may have been slobbing on the knob?
Right.
They did just kind of gloss over that.
Yes. Like, how does that work? But then Porsha brings up about Angela and says she's basically confused about Angela's ways, and that she kind of feels like Angela's a gaslighter and things like that. I can kind of agree. Anybody from the land of Timbuktu, everybody knows that this is a messy situation to invite somebody to someone's birthday that isn't there. So please don't act aloof. I don't like that. Yeah, I invited her. Using say, well, Porsha didn't say no. Like,
Weird
come on.
shit.
Yeah, like, just do better at doing the producer's bidding, essentially, is how I feel.
Correct.
So then Shamia, which I'm starting to find this is as an issue with Shamia, because this is the second or third time that I've recognized this with Shamia, and seeing Watch What Happens Live is going to happen again with Shamia, with Porsha. And that is, Shamia retells stories, and she does, I won't say that she adds anything to the stories, but in how she delivers it, it's very saucy.
Mm-hmm.
So when she says Angela came to her about a conversation that Kelly and Drew were having,
right,
and the way that she brought that back, it 100% made sense to me. Why Porsha would say, "Oh, that's why she wanted to bring Drew here so we could drag Drew." But when they did the flashback, it wasn't even that. Like, it just did not give that at all.
Not fair. To be a girl.
Like, girl. She, like, that was just odd to me. So then we move on to the whiskey tasting. Very dry, very boring. I would have much rather been with the other girls. I mean, the event that they were doing was boring, but I felt like the scene was actually juicy because I actually did not have an issue with Britt here. There was one little piece. I did have a little piece with Britt. So it starts off, the girls are having their drinks or whatever, tasting the whiskey. Drew says that she thinks it would be a good idea or a good olive branch to bring Porsha a bottle of whiskey with their pick on it. They all say that they think that's a good idea. Obviously, they bring up the whole Porsha, Drew, Angela situation. And Angela basically says she feels like she was being loyal to Drew and trying to get Porsha and Drew's friendship back on track. And then out of nowhere, Britt says, I just kind of feel like you're playing a victim. Like, you do things and then you just kind of like, started like, what? What did I do? I didn't do anything. And I was like, pot or kettle?
The audacity.
The audacity. The unmitigated gall.
No, really. And I think at that moment, she genuinely believed that.
She did.
The gumption.
She really did believe that. I think that's why it was so entertaining. I was like, oh, girl, you really believe this shit?
And she thought she was speaking real shit. I'm like, girl.
Oh, no, she was. No, she
girl.
Please.
She really did. What they say? Oh, you thought you ate that, huh? You ate that, huh?
And did not.
You did not. You did not.
You did not. Ooh.
Did not. Miss Mamas. Like, I was gagged by that. Like, the way she said that, I was just like, oh, okay, girl. And Brent then again brings up the Brunson, says she felt like Angela and Drew didn't support her. And Angela, in how she handles conflict, I think, like, in this moment, obviously, because we know the other situation is fabricated because of production. But in this moment, the way Angela is able to stand 10 toes down and still be able to give apologies, I think is extremely admirable. Like, she is such a full-rounded individual on this show.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because one thing I don't like is certain housewives that just never apologize. Your Nene's, your Lisa Vanderpumps. Like, I can't stand your Danielle's. I can't stand a bitch that just like won't backtrack or have any kind of remorse, or at least for the case of like moving along. So
Right.
yeah, I thought the same, Aaron. Danielle, what'd you think?
Oh, you know what I already thought. Because again, that makes you a better person because you said you were sorry, you were wrong. Girl,
Yes.
get the fuck out of here. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And again, okay, you said sorry. I
No, but I
accept your
believe.
sorry.
No, but I believed Angela because it was like new information to her. It wasn't like she was defending her actions from the brunch. Britt was able to really say how she felt about it, and they were able to say how they felt about it. Even she didn't even jump on Drew. She was like, I get what you're saying. She ain't like it, but she got it. This was probably the most redeeming scene of Britt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh my God. I did see some fodder about how people were kind of upset about Cynthia, how she jumped in and was like, defending Britt.
That rubbed me the wrong way too.
It rubbed you the wrong way?
I didn't hate it, but I felt like it was a little bit too much, especially considering that she's like the closest to Kenya. It just seemed like a little OD, but
I can agree with that.
Later on we found out Cynthia was drunk, so that could have something to do.
Right.
I was gonna say, but did we see her taking the whiskey shots back? Cynthia's eyes was low that entire scene.
But I will say this: we have to remember that Cynthia was unaware of a lot of all the mess that was going on from Britt's point of view, and I still do agree. You don't put you don't put a lot on that. You don't put a lot on that when it's your friend that was the perpetrator of that. Correct. You can still say it was, she did go through a lot, but she was sorry I didn't go to post. Unless it was you sorry I didn't go to the. It was like, whoa, girl. Okay, Cynthia. Let's get whiskey away from her. But essentially, they make it a point to make amends and they apologize and say that they're going to move forward. And I thought that was a really beautiful, beautiful little scene or whatever. So then we are back at the house. The women are getting ready. Of course, Cynthia is always going to be the first one ready. She about to lose it over these little cowboys downstairs, looking like a whole cougar. Not in the theme.
Child, I thought she was going to a gala.
Cynthia is the theme queen. What happened?
She was in sequence.
Girl.
Cynthia said, I'm a friend. I'm going to wear what I want to wear.
I know that's right.
She said, somebody just pulled me up because I'm open.
Oh, hello. Now, I will say Kelly's dress. Well, first of all, everyone looked phenomenal. I loved Kelly's dress. I love Britt's. I love me some fringe.
Britt looked amazing from head to toe.
Oh, good. She looked good.
Honey, Britt ate that up.
No.
But Porsha comes down looking like she's in a mood. And her mood, it almost took me back to like certain trips that I've been on when somebody in a mood, and it's like, bitch, if you don't shake the out of that, like it just brings down the whole mood, and it makes everyone ask, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" But then we find out that she got a call letting her know that Porsha and Drew actually did film together, and it's hard for her to shake. She can't really get out of that mood or whatever, and so basically, she's not letting anyone know what the issue is. The ladies then go to the backyard and essentially get taught line dancing. We find out that none of these women can dance.
Not one.
Did you think those men were fine? I love the bodies. I didn't really get to see the face.
I mean,
though,
you couldn't see their faces. Nice. Yeah, they had nice arms.
Yeah, very nice arms.
I wasn't into anything. Miss Mama's teaching the dance class had me.
Oh, Miss Mama's,
big fish.
Not big fish.
Miss Mama's had them. Miss Mama's trying to figure out why they were so stiff.
I'm dead. So they all sit down at the dinner, and they are essentially still asking, what's wrong with Porsha. Portia's not answering. So I guess because Porsha did not want to say anything, that's when Britt jumps in and basically says, well, on our whiskey trip, me and Angela basically resolved everything. And Britt has this habit of starting conversations and then throwing it to someone else instead of leading the conversation. She did that before with Angela, when I brought that up last time, when she said, I gave her a hug. Was it real? You gave her a hug. What? I'm confused.
Well,
So she
remember,
does this again. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, remember, we already spoke about Britt and her insecurity, her little girl insecurity, and how like she's not really a confident woman. Let's be real.
No.
She has a lot of weird insecurities that you can tell that seeped in from childhood now into womanhood because she seeks so much validation. It's so
So much
weird.
validation.
She seeks so much validation.
But yeah, so then Angela basically just says, like, well, she said that I'm a victim. I have a victim mentality, and I'm not really sure how I have a victim mentality. Which was gaggy, because I thought she was going to be nice and say, like, yeah, we figured it out. She's like, yeah, she said I have a victim mentality. Not really sure how I have it. And then, of course, Britt said, oh, so we didn't go far. She's like, no, we did, but that's just the part that I don't agree with. Yeah, so then basically it comes right back to Porsha. And Porsha is just so disengaged, even in the conversation when Angela is trying to have the conversation with her. But then Shamia jumps in and says, well, Porsha feels that she is a gaslighter, essentially. And when Angela asked Porsha that, she's just like, I don't know. Like, Porsha just did not have time. Like, it was just, this whole little Dennis and Drew situation really just rocked her. And so, of course, then everybody's saying, Porsha, what's wrong?
Right.
And this is like very similar. Yeah, this is very similar to like the whole Sutton situation when she wouldn't leave Dorit's house. It's like, God, just stop babying her. Let her go. Like, let Porsha to be in her little mood or whatever. And so then Britt pipes up and says, well, she probably feels away because you invited Drew, knowing the situation. And then, Angela starts acting aloof. Like, oh, I just didn't know that it wasn't an invite. I didn't know she couldn't get on the call. Just, again, very weird. Now this is the part that irritates me about when a person isn't supposed to be there. Now there's this conversation that's happening that isn't supposed to happen, because if she wasn't here, this conversation would not be happening. And that's like, Drew, did you get an invite? Did you get an invite, Drew? Did you get an invite? And even when her and Porsha had that quick little back and forth or whatever, when Porsha was like, what she said, I'm straight or whatever, about trying to mend the situation. Yeah. And then Drew jumps up like, I'm just going to leave, and everyone's begging for her to stay. I would have been pissed with everybody at that table asking this bitch to stay when she wanted to leave, when she wasn't even invited.
Yeah. I think that would have pissed me off the most out of everything, to be honest with you, because why is y'all begging this girl? Ain't this my birthday?
Right. 100%. Now this kind of threw me for a loop when Angela says, I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting all this heat, and then she tries to throw it to Kelly. Like, when Kelly asked you this question, like, you weren't held accountable. I said, now we are. Jared, what did you feel about that? Because that was a reach.
Yeah, no, Angela definitely lost me there. I didn't understand why or how. She was trying to deflect back to that. Like, it had nothing to do with anything in that moment.
First of all, we're not even talking about the same thing, girl.
Yeah.
That was that literally, when we talk about two different subjects, that genuinely had nothing to do with the price of tea in China. I don't know where she got that from. She should have threw the ball somewhere else.
Yeah, my girl was just running out of ammo.
Literally. I literally thought that she was saying, I thought we were going to find out that Kelly had something to do with Drew being invited as well. When it was actually about the Simon of it all, I said, now come on, Angela.
Yeah.
Now you lost me with that.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, hearing Porsha's explanation in the confessional where she says, listen, I'm not trying to get this girl all this smoke about this. I just found out this information. At the end of the day, there's only one person I really need to be mad at, and that's Dennis.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that's right, Porsha. Like, that's the type of growth that I want to see from Porsha that I really appreciated.
And when she was breaking it down to Cynthia.
Yes. And that's literally leading into that. Probably my favorite scene of the show, because it felt like old Atlanta.
Yeah.
Just them two in the bed and just them just having like it just felt nostalgia. It felt like real sisterly.
Mm-hmm.
Like where all these even Porsha said it on the Watch What Happens Live. All these new girls, like me having that moment with Cynthia, this is what I needed. In that moment, this is who I needed to go to because she would understand me the most. I just thought that was just such a beautiful
That was a nice
moment.
display. I wanted
It was very cute.
I wanted Cynthia back on the show. They started, it was really like old times. They started the eyelashes started coming off, baby hairs, everything. It was lit. I like that for them.
Yes, and it also makes you think if when certain people are out of the scenario, could these people have been closer if things were different back in the day?
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So then we get to the pool party at the end, and essentially all the girls are in their bathing suits, and then we get a cut scene to Angela in her pajama set. All I thought about was Tammy. All I thought about was Tammy. Why could I only think about Tammy when they were in Miami?
The bonnet.
Girl. It took me out. Okay, so y'all said Britt was the one in the gold bathing suit that had the lock.
Yeah.
The lock?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gold member. I did not like that body.
So, why? Okay, y'all. I got a quick question. Well, maybe it's not a question. It's more of a statement. I see nothing wrong. I don't have a problem with what Porsha said about Angela's. I mean, yes, Porsha can't say that about Charles. She can't say that because of Porsha's history. But I've said stuff like that. Like, man, you better leave me alone before I fuck your husband.
Well, you were appropriate.
If we beefing, I can say that.
Yeah.
I don't think people should put a lot of weight on that. Obviously, it's a bad joke for Porsha because it's Porsha.
Yeah.
But, you know, your thoughts? Well, Jared said it was inappropriate.
Jared?
I mean, I think maybe if there's they're not even beefing that hard for her to be saying all that.
Right.
Like, that's not a real beef. They just had like a slight.
But I think she said it. I think she said it in jest. I think she said it in jest. I don't think she was serious.
But listen, there's a lot of factors in this situation that you have to be cognizant of. One, Porsha has done that. Two, Charles has fucked around Angela. I think it's a little too close to home for her to be joking about that.
Well, I think that's why it was so funny, to be honest with you. To me personally, I mean, listen, let's be real. It is a nasty joke, but also at the same time, like I said, I feel like Porsha, she said anything is possible. She said it again, it being Porsha and her deal. She did take somebody else's husband. I think at the same time, it was a funny moment because it was Angela. She knew that she would get a rise out of that. She could have said anybody else's husband, but she said hers because she knew it would do something.
Right. I did see that she got caught recording. I do see that they caught her recording, and it's like, basically, Angela was like, well, shit, since I got caught, might as well go down there and confront them. And she confronted them, and Porsha skedaddled. I was gagged by that.
I mean, yeah. You know, she's on mute. I was about to say, this scene was just like such a mess overall. I love like a little off-camera unofficial scene. This whole thing was so entertaining. But yeah, and then I love when, the girls get a little lit and just start doing anything. I don't know how I felt about Angela choosing to leave the next day, but I mean, she's been fighting for her life basically the whole trip, so I get why she would be over it. But yeah, just
wait, the trip wasn't over?
Is it over? I don't know. I couldn't say.
I think the trip was over.
Well, why were her and Jude only two leaving?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. No one else was packed up at the end of the episode.
She was, Drew threw her fit and then said she was leaving, and then Angela decided to leave with Drew.
Were you guys gagged at that? So when Angela was packing her stuff up, and I was like, who was that getting in the car with her? When I saw Drew was there, I was like, wait, you're still there? Why did you do all that? Yeah, no, she was in the car.
Well, I'm not fucking with y'all. I'm not gonna sit at this dinner and hang out. I'm just going with my twin. I'm going with my twin bunk beds.
So that's even worse. That would have been even more for me to get on a damn red eye. I ain't sleeping in no bunk bed or being around y'all.
Especially when you're like in Nashville. There's plenty of hotels in Nashville. You could have easily. Yeah, I feel you on that. But Drew's cheap.
Yeah,
I
well,
will say one of the things that I did appreciate about just more and more appreciations for Angela. She gonna stand 10 toes down. She said, "Look, I don't want to be fake. I ain't got time for this. I'm not saying good morning to you."
poor Kelly was shocked. She came
Well,
trying.
I don't know. What? This is me every morning. I don't know. It was a mess. All right, guys. So it is time for our favorite part of our episode, and that is,
Everybody, just calm down.
girl, just calm down. For me, this is actually another hard episode to say who needs to calm down. For me, I would say it's gonna be a collective of the table where everybody that said Drew don't go needs to calm down. Because you can't be yelling for somebody not to leave and having a moment on somebody else's birthday when you weren't supposed to be there. Y'all are feeding into that. That's mine.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's fair. I'm actually gonna piggyback off of you because I'm gonna give mine to Miss Drew Sidora. Because that moment was bizarre. I felt like she was pulling a Brit. Like, all things considered, Porsha was actually nice to her on that trip. So for her to throw that fit and make that scene and decide to storm out, it was doing entirely too much.
Agreed. I'm actually going to give it to Miss Angela Oakley herself. Actually solely for recording the women. Now, anybody in the past who's ever done a sneak recording on the Housewives is actually never landed well. She
Only
did
on
it,
Salt Lake City.
and
It's
now
worked everywhere else except for Salt Lake.
because Brittany got five for that one. But again, I would say you gotta calm down. You filming from the window was weird when you were already gonna come downstairs and confront. You should have just came downstairs to recording.
Well, me and Jared will have to disagree with that, but whatever.
Don't care.
You are just a nasty woman.
Mhm.
But anywho, guys, thank you for tuning in to Everybody Just Calm Down the podcast. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe and whatever. And we'll be back on Wednesday, Shabona. Peace.
Bye, guys. Okay.